Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Education Lady Podcast. We'll be right back with today's podcast guest, but as always, guess what? We're going to give shout out to our sponsors. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies, and I highly recommend that you check them out. Yeah, they're sponsors, but I used them. That's why they are sponsors. So take 3 minutes, listen to these shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit each one of these sponsors if you're not already using them. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We'd like to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and their team is going to have you creating world-class social media content in seconds. It's so easy, even I can do it. Gipper's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs across the country. And whether it's a social media post to celebrate a big win or an entire newsletter to share all the great things that your athletic department is doing, the Gipper team is going to have you up and running in no time. It's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Coaches loved it, parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's snapraise.com. We'd like to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months totally online. And while you're earning your master's, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA for more information. We also want to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. When I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, communication. And if your state association already has a platform that you use for that, Home Campus's student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com for more information. That's homecampus.com. We want to thank our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Are you looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame? Well, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen, that's right, touch screen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history and brag a little bit about your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, and athletic websites. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for schools to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Learn more at hometown.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast, hometown.com. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything, kids, coaches, parents, you name it. And the information that came back was almost always over the top positive. But we also got to hear from those squeaky wheel parents and address their issues, which were usually small, and keep them from turning into big issues. But having that positive feedback, that 98%, is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with that frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. I know a lot of athletic directors, but I can honestly say today we're going to be visiting with a good friend. Our guest today is Tony Miller. Tony's, well, first of all, he's a certified master athletic administrator. He's the assistant principal and the AD at Mountain Ridge High School, way out in Arizona. He's also extremely active on a state and a national level. Tony and I connected, what was it, 5, 6 or more years ago as members, and we still are, of the NIAAA's National Teaching Faculty for the 701 middle school course. Does a great job with his program, has some really cool ideas that he's going to share with us. So, Tony Miller, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jake. I'm super excited. And yeah, we met about 5 or 6 years ago. And one of the highlights of my year every year is getting to present with you and Kelly at the National AD Conference because we have a blast together. And I appreciate all the kind words and I look forward to chatting it up with you today.
Oh, no, absolutely. I know Kelly is fond of calling maybe you and her. I don't know if I'm on that, the dream team, but it's
That's awesome.
certainly fun to present with you guys every year. Well, let's go and jump into it. We always try to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up, maybe take us up through your own high school and college days, and then we'll take a break. But what's the Tony Miller origin story?
So my story is kind of unique. Grew up in the Bay Area. My dad was in the military, but he moved once in his career, and that was to Arizona. And I moved here 4 days before high school began, so I got no summer break. It was the hottest day on record ever in Arizona, like 128. It was nuts. I remember saying to my dad, this isn't going to work. And I got to open a new high school, Mountain Ridge High School, where I'm currently the athletic director and assistant principal. So when I say I got to see the school being built and I got to be a part of that original culture, I truly was. I was a student and I was part of the first graduating class. My dad was a coach here. My brother went to school here. And now I get the unique opportunity of being the assistant principal and AD. And my oldest niece comes to school with me every day, and she's one of my student athletes. So when I say I've seen it go full circle, I truly have. And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences in my life because I get to provide our current students with the same opportunities that I had. And we actually have 7 coaches in our athletic department that were in the athletic department when I was a student. 4 of them are in our Hall of Fame now, and they have come back to be coaches in the athletic department again. So it's really rewarding from that aspect. Went on to Arizona State University, got a degree in education, loved every second of that. They have a great education program there. Their PE department when I was there was one of the tops in the nation. It was one of the reasons that I chose to go there. You probably know the name Dr. Robert Pangrazi. He wrote a lot of the curriculums many years ago, and I happened to be part of his last graduating class ever as well. So, those relationships that, you mentioned earlier are a big part of what we do and how we do things.
Wow, what a great experience to be a part of. Obviously we're going to go into, what you're doing now at Mountain Ridge later on, but let's go back maybe even earlier than high school. Were you living in the suburbs? Were you a small town? Was there a basketball hoop in your driveway? What was that experience like growing up?
So great question. So very small town, military town. Lived there for the first 14 years of my life. And like to give you an idea of how small it was, my house was the house that everybody came to play sports.
Oh, yeah.
Front yard, full court basketball, 2 courts or 2 hoops. Backyard, we had a batting cage. Garage was detached where we had games in there for everybody to play. It was kind of crazy growing up because I thought that that was the norm. I know that that is not the norm now. But after school, everybody would come to my house and we would play every sport imaginable. My dad was the coach of many of the teams in town because they were military people. Some of the dads weren't always available, those kinds of things. So growing up, I thought the norm was, hey, dad's your coach, which I was very fortunate to have. Still to this day, to give you an idea, my dad comes to our sporting events to support us. So playing sports was a big part of our lives. It was basketball, baseball, golf, whatever you could do, we were out doing. And that's probably where I got the love for being a teacher and being a coach and wanting to have that impact on my student athletes. And now, as you mentioned, you and I have the unbelievable opportunity to go educate the newer ADs and help provide them experiences so that they are successful. So I think that that was the foundation for everything for me.
Wow. Again, I share this all the time. Growing up, our backyard was the biggest one on the block. We were on a corner, and it was always, football games and little kids hide and seek and all that stuff. So I'm right there with you. Let's fast forward to high school.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of a two-part question. What were your sports as a student athlete in high school? And you were part of a startup, and I've had the fortune of being involved with two startups in my career. Sometimes, not always, sometimes those first couple years, it's a struggle to build teams and let's say everybody wants to win games and win games. What were your sports and what was your experience like at that startup school for those years?
Yeah, so I didn't know what it was like to not know growing with the school. We opened with two grade levels, and we had to, like you were saying, build every year. When the school started, it didn't have varsity programs, and we struggled to field JV programs because we didn't have four grade levels. When the school was being built, um, all these facilities weren't even done when we first opened. Like the football field was just dirt and the baseball field was just dirt. And so we had to kind of grow with the facilities, which is also kind of cool though. Like we helped build the dugouts at baseball, like literally stacking the blocks to help build them. So there were some cool things that we got to do that you don't get to do when a school is established. But also it's kind of cool to be a senior theoretically every year of high school because there's no grade level in front of you. No, I wasn't actually a senior for 4 years, but it was cool that you got to do those kinds of things. But yes, competition was hard. I was a baseball player. Arizona is a baseball rich state. So for me, I was out on that baseball field every day of the year because we have the weather to do that. And then that ended up being my passion later in life. And that's why I became a baseball coach. But it was cool getting to build things. And still to this day, like this year, we are honoring the 30th anniversary of the school. And the special surprise that I have for everybody, we found the video of the school being built. And so, like, I show part of the video, the wood floor being laid. And then I got a drone and I went and showed them the wood floor that we laid 3 years ago. So the whole second half of that Hall of Fame ceremony, we're going to tie the history of the school with what the school looks like now. And I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, what an incredible, historical artifact.
Yeah.
Um, just looking back on the startups I was involved in, I was the AD, I was also the head football coach, but I was very purposeful about trying to collect those artifacts. The first uniform, the first victory, our first win as a school was in volleyball. Did your ADs, when you were a student athlete, did they collect similar artifacts?
So I'm going to say the answer to that is no, because I was the AD's TA when I was in high school. I was the first ever TA up in this office. So I came back to where I was 25 years later. But that has been, so you bring up a great point, a cognizant thing that I've been working on. So for example, this year, we're doing an anniversary or an alumni game for baseball for the first ever team. And just yesterday, I built the replica first hat. So all of those players have no clue that when they show up, they're going to be getting a replica hat that they're wearing. And so that should be a fun experience, but we've brought the history back to the school. I've reached out to the community continuously, and I get jerseys and I get hats. I've gotten helmets, all of those kinds of things. So when we were building that Hall of Fame that we established 4 years ago, I wanted there to be history. And yes, we are getting that stuff back now because it wasn't collected originally.
Well, I mean, but still, what a great way to recognize those pioneers, if you will, of the program. And I'm guessing there's probably going to be a couple of teary eyes when those hats come out. That is so cool.
There will be, and I tell people all the time, when we started the Hall of Fame, we didn't realize the impact it was going to have. We kind of thought it would be a ceremony at a game, and we give a plaque. And it's turned into something completely different now, Jake. Like we have a private dinner. We have all the families come. We've outgrown the gym, and we have to bring it to the football stadium now. So we do the private ceremony. I have a special game on the weekend, and at halftime of that game, after the ceremony, they are technically Hall of Famers then, and I introduce them to the community as a Hall of Famer, and they walk out with their families. And when you talk about tears, I have grandparents and parents, and Jake, it's crazy, like crazy in a good way. It's become so emotional. It's unbelievable, and it's an event that we are truly proud of because there is a connection there.
Oh no, absolutely. I just love those types of programs. I'm telling myself I got to make that trip out to see that presentation next year.
You're more than welcome.
Let's go and take our first break. For our listeners, we're visiting with Tony Miller. He's a certified master athletic administrator, and he's the assistant principal and athletic director at Mountain Ridge High School. That's out in Arizona. We're coming back with more, so stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their scoreboards and video boards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, and their team is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds. Maybe it's a social media post to celebrate a big win, or an entire newsletter to share all the great things that your program is doing. It's so easy, even I can do it. Gipper's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs across the country. Like I said, it's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. That's Gipper.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're visiting with Tony Miller, the athletic director at Mountain Ridge High School. Tony mentioned that after high school, you went on to Arizona State. As you were in that program, was it you just knew from the get-go, I'm going to be a coach, this is what I want to do, or was there a moment or moments along the way that you said, hey, this is what I think I need to do? And even if you knew it from the beginning, were there any significant moments? I'm a big moment guy, where you thought to yourself, hey, this is exactly where I need to be.
To answer your question on all of that, 100%. While I was in college, I was actually volunteering here at Mountain Ridge because this was my home community. And it kind of solidified, yeah, this is the road that I want to go down. And then obviously at Arizona State University, they have an incredible physical education department. I got into that, and where it really hit home for me was when I got to the point of doing our student teaching. I wanted to make sure I was prepared as possible. So I was unique in the fact that I'm certified kindergarten through 12th grade. And I did student teaching in both elementary and high school and adaptive PE as well. So I made sure that I was getting the full gamut because I didn't know necessarily what avenue I was going to go down. But where it really solidified for me and the aha moment was I had two just absolutely amazing mentors when I got to that last year. Kerry Johnson and Rick McCutcheon. Rick was the longtime AD at Paradise Valley High School. He gave me my first coaching job at baseball there. To give you an idea of how strong those relationships are with those two individuals, Rick is retired. Carrie is still a PE teacher, and just a couple of years ago, she won the State PE Teacher of the Year award. So I had just two great mentors. But to this day, when I host state playoffs, the two of them now in return, 25 years later, are actually on my crew to help us host state playoff games. So it's just, we talk about relationships all the time. You and I talk about those relationships when we teach the classes together. To think that my mentor teachers who were helping me get through college still to this day have an impact on my life, and even more so, an impact on my students' lives. That's really my aha moment, because I don't know that everybody has that in their career.
Boy, again, you hit it on the head. Building your network from the get go, and you did a great job. I don't think a lot of let's say aspiring coaches or leaders do this enough. Maintain connections with their high school. You were doing that while you're there, while you're in college, and then obviously later on. But yeah, absolutely. The networking, the relationships, you can't you can't oversell the importance of that. Let's go and talk about that. You make that transition from college right into coaching. We use the expression frequently. You don't know what you don't know. I was a head high school football coach when I was 25 years old, and that expression certainly applied to me. I had no business being a head football coach, but they hired me anyway. What were some things that you found out when you became that high school coach that you didn't know?
That is a wonderful question, because I say that same comment all of the time. Um, I was very, very fortunate that when I went to Paradise Valley High School, when I say I had incredible mentors around me, I had just this team of uh, 25 plus year coaches all around me in the PE department that were head coaches of other programs at the school. I mentioned Rick, like I sat down with Rick for hours and I just asked questions. Whenever we were out of baseball season, I would go to the football games and the basketball games, and I tried to make myself a sponge. I also realized too that if they needed help, I would be there for them at those games, and then vice versa. When it came time, like, hey, it's baseball season and I need some help with something on a game day, they were always there. So it was very unique in the fact that it was a family. So much so that when I started to think about going into administration and my first opportunity came my way, I was actually hesitant. The coaches brought me into the office and they said, "You're doing this. You're going to jump. You're going to take that opportunity. You're the right person to do this." I was more worried about bailing on them, and they were more worried about seeing me succeed. And I don't know how many times we actually have people that would do that for us.
Wow. Again, just another great tip for listeners, both new to the profession and veterans, of the impact that a mentor can have for you and the impact that you can have as a mentor. Um, you were a coach, but now you're sitting, as I like to say, on the other side of the desk. How did that all happen?
That is a great question. So, coaching baseball, and there's a gentleman that you may know. He's no longer an AD. He's passed. His name is Art Wagner. Art Wagner was in Arizona, and he won the NFHS Citation Award. I think it was in San Antonio. in like 2012. I'm close there. And he comes to one of my games and he has an opening at the district office in a school district called Higley Unified School District on the other side of town. And he's like, hey, I need some help. I've seen the stuff that you're doing. Would you be open to it? And didn't really know what I was going to say. I went and saw him though. Once again, I think it was a matter of being a sponge. And I said, show me the district. I want to see what it's like. I want to see the culture. And no joke, the next day in the middle of the school year, I was part of that school district. He sold me on it. We ended up having an amazing relationship. Part of what I do, I talk about this all the time, is about the significance of your legacy. What are you leaving behind? Part of why I became an AD is also because Art passed away. And part of him is me. And so I wanted to carry on that legacy. He has an incredible story. The movie, book, and TV show Friday Night Lights, the team that is based on, he is one of the linemen on that actual team. So, I have signed copies of the book and all that kind of stuff. And he was an amazing man. But he also showed me what it means to be a leader in a different capacity. And I really started to gravitate towards, okay, I had people that guided me as a coach. Now that gets to become my journey, and I get to help the next generation of coaches. And I really enjoy that. And then that transition to now I get to help the next generation of ADs. And that's when you and I started working together, and I started teaching classes at the state level with incredible people like Missy Townsend up at Prescott High School, who I know that you know. And Missy and I sit on a bunch of committees together. And I'm not joking. One of the things that I get the most satisfaction and pride out of every year is when you and I go to that national conference, and for 4 hours, we get to impact people that maybe we will never see again, or maybe we only see at the national conference. But knowing that they leave those classes better than what they came, or more information than what they came, that's a very rewarding feeling.
Oh, again, you are so right. It's certainly one of the highlights each year to teach with you and Kelly, and occasionally, not often, I'll get a random email, hey, took your class, and use this tidbit or something, and those just they make you feel good, like you're still having an impact. You're still boots on the ground. You're still an AD. I'm removed from a step, but I still get to stay involved as part of the national faculty. Um, let's go and take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Anthony to share his current school, some things he's particularly proud of, and some things that we like to call best practices. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. Go to snapraise.com for more information. We'd also like to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's from Ohio University, but my assistant athletic director did, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're completing your master's degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters in Athletic Administration. And we want to say thanks to our good friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there is so much more. Go to huddle.com. Join the 8 million users and find out how to turn your school into a huddle school. That's huddle.com.
We use Huddle at our school. It's been a massive tool for our coaches and our student athletes. All of our students on our campus have Chromebooks, so we're able to share the videos with our student athletes. This year, we actually built a team media room for all of our athletic teams. So our coaches have 75-inch TVs in there to work with our students to really show them what they're doing and how they're being successful and sometimes what they need to work on. But I know our coaches have been very appreciative of the technology and the tools that Huddle has provided because it does help our teams perform at a higher level. So everybody over Huddle, thank you. Your products are awesome. We appreciate it. And I know our kids and our coaches appreciate it too.
Oh, yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. We talk a lot about from a coaching standpoint, the video, doing the statistics, the breakdowns for all the teams, not just football. We talk about streaming for parents. We talk about making those recruiting videos, but I'm amazed and very pleased at the number of ADs that talk about how they um, help the 94% that don't go on to college make commemorative videos of their playing days. Do you guys, is that a thing for you at Mountain Ridge?
So we have certain programs that do that. And you hit on another piece of it too with that technology and because our students have Chromebooks. So that's a nice feature for our students to have. One of the things that I've worked on really hard this last year, and I will share it with you, Jake. I actually already thought about it today, is I've been working with our students on creating videos for their exposure and to help them with all of these services now that are kind of like recruiting services and those kinds of things. Regardless if you go on to play college or not, those are still incredible skills to learn. Marketing yourself and getting yourself out there, you can use that in almost every profession that there is. So I try to use it as more of a tool to help our student athletes learn that if you want certain things in life, you're going to have to work towards that. It's usually not going to just be handed to you. And you're going to have to really put the work in to show people that you are unique.
And that's a great point. All those skills, my air quotes are not showing up on the podcast, but all those skills that we say athletics provides, leadership, teamwork, dedication, hard work. Well, hey, here's some video proof,
Yeah.
regardless of the sport, football, golf, volleyball, you name it, swimming, that a student athlete who's no longer a student athlete, now they're a college student and going on the career can do. Great stuff. Absolutely. I want to hear more about that. For listeners, our guest today is Tony Miller. He's a certified master athletic administrator. He's the assistant principal and the AD at Mountain Ridge High School in Arizona, also a member of the NIAAA's national faculty. Tony, you shared kind of chapter one. You were a student. You were I'm trying to think of what this is. A founding student at Mountain Ridge
Yeah.
High School.
Yeah.
Graduated from there, first graduating class, and now you're the athletic director there. Um, Share the story briefly, how you became the AD, and then let's hear some more things that you're particularly proud of at Mountain Ridge High School.
So how I became the AD, they obviously had an opening, but I was already an athletic director in the state of Arizona. I knew the district AD at the time. His name's Scott Warner, amazing man, a great leader. And Scott knew that there was going to be some changes, people moving on to be principals and those types of things. And he knew that I had graduated from Mountain Ridge, obviously. So he called, seeing my level of interest. Obviously, I was very intrigued by the opportunity because I had been off campus at that point for, I think, like 24 years. And I had established myself on another side of town, but my family still lives in the Mountain Ridge boundaries. My parents are still close by. So it was intriguing for a couple of things. A, it's a school that I clearly have connections to. B, knowing that my niece was going to be a student here shortly. that was uh, a unique experience. I have a great relationship with her. She loves sports. So I thought that that would be a cool journey to go down, which it has been. And then C, I guess, is there's not many times in your life that you get to give back to an education institution that really helped lay the foundation for what you became in life. And so I thought that that was a unique opportunity that I just wasn't going to pass down.
When you came on board, and again, you had a lot of history there, as a student, your family, et cetera. Um, was it, again, ADs want to do this. They don't always do it, but they want to do it. You probably saw some things. Well, boy, I think we can do a better job here. Or I want to change that. Um, what were some things that you initially said, hey, this is something that, we're going to tweak? And what was something that you saw that you said, this is perfect. We're not going to touch this at all?
Sure. I think the first thing that stood out for me is um, we needed to do a better job of making our athletic facilities um, an elite level. If you want to compete at that level, you have to have those kind of facilities. So you can see, and I'm going to shift my camera just a bit on you. That's an aerial of our new football field. And I hit the ground running, and that was the first thing that we did. I knew that not only if we wanted to compete at a big level, but we also want to host the big events. So state football playoffs, state soccer playoffs, whatever it is, if you want that exposure, you have to have the stuff that puts you on that level. And so that stadium was the first big piece. That was being done year one. And every year we have had a plan to address different facilities. We redid the entire gym. We did 2 weight rooms. We did tennis courts. We built a beach volleyball facility. I knew that if we wanted to be considered one of those high level performing schools, you can't necessarily do those things if you don't have the facility. So that was the first phase. There was also one other key piece that was critical for us. I got permission to create, and I've talked with you about this before too, the mission and vision of our athletic department. And once again, that was one of those things that, holy cow, it took on a life of its own. Like we have the signs everywhere inside buildings, they're posters. Outside, they're on windscreens that we had made. And it became so powerful that I will share this with you that we actually created leadership coins because our student athletes helped with the mission and vision. And the word always compete on our leadership coin is something that the students came up with. And the new school motto, the Ridge Way, how we carry ourselves, was an athletic department saying, and our principal decided to say, that's going to be our entire school motto as well. So it became not just this document, it became a way of doing things. And when I tell you people ask about these coins that I give out every single month, I have coaches, community members, athletes, like they're like, Mr. Miller, did I get one of those? Yeah, you got one of those. And it has taken on a life of its own because it means something. It's not just a metal coin. It means something to them. So that was the big thing. And then what was the thing that I realized that we really didn't have to touch? We are always hiring new coaches. That's part of our job. But the foundation of the athletic department had some coaches in it that are just incredible leaders. They are great for our students. They are great mentors. They've taken on additional roles in the athletic department, and they've truly helped me grow the athletic department. And I'll share some of those other things with you in a minute, like the quality program award and those kinds of things. Those things aren't possible if you don't have an amazing team around you.
Boy, great stuff. And again, the leadership coin, I don't want to, but I'm wondering if somebody wants to do the research on where that idea, generated, because it has become, I literally have one here on my desk. I presented at the Florida Coaches Conference. They have a leadership coin. Two of the ADs that are kind of help run that, they do that very same thing at their school. One's a huge public school, the other one's a smaller private school, but they have the leadership coin, and it's been a huge hit. Very cool stuff. Um, Talking about coaches, um, there are, and this is again kind of a loaded question. You can probably guess where I'm going with this, or where I'm coming from.
Okay.
There are some sports that are more prone to year-round slash club participation. I think most athletic directors are on board with the idea that the multi-sport experience is far valuable, even for that elite athlete that, is going to do one of those sports, who shall go
Sure.
nameless at this point, in college. How what kind of job, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, I'm trying to phrase it the right way. Do your coaches do a good job of promoting the multi-sport experience for the students at Mountain Ridge High School?
That's one of the things that I probably am most proud of. So part of the interview process, we have to make sure as ADs that we're hiring a person that fits what our mission and vision are, right? Like multi-sport athletes, professional development, helping with facilities. Like you need the person that values all of those kinds of things. So it's something that I actively ask during the interview process. Something similar to that is, what would your working relationship be with a booster club? Because we all know that it is something that our coaches need to have in order to be successful. So I ask those kinds of questions because I am looking for coaches that want to help promote that. Quite frankly, we are successful because our coaches promote that, but they don't just promote it. I had a basketball game just last night and a soccer match. The amount of coaches I had here supporting the other teams because their athletes are on those other teams. They come with their kids and their family at the football game, literally right there, that end zone, where you see that track stuff right behind it. It is completely full of our entire coaching staff every Friday night. So you can't just say it, you have to live it yourself too. So when the coaches are there supporting those other programs, people know that that's what we stand for.
Boy, that is so cool to hear. I had the school I was the AD and the head football coach at. My wife coached cross country and track. Our kids went there. We had I'll say we had a great boys basketball coach. And we would have conversations, and he would say, "Hey, I tell the kids, the basketball players, that they can turn out for football if they want to." I go, well, I don't want you to tell them they can. I want you to tell them they should. Okay. It's going to make them tougher for you. It's going to make them better for you. And we had some, good kids, but what are they? They're skinny, gym rat basketball players that are getting pushed around the basketball floor. That, I had a kid, he played football and basketball. And he said, Coach, I'm not going to play basketball next year. I want to get in the weight room. And I go, you can come in the morning and lift with me. Okay. You're going to play basketball because it's going to make you a better football player. So, again, that's such a great environment to have developed. And you're absolutely right. As an AD, as a school, you've got to be hiring the right people that are going to support that mission. Boy, I could go on this topic for hours. Let's go and take another quick break, but we are coming back with more. I know that's shocking for our regular listeners. We're going to do a commercial shout out, but we are coming back with more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We'd like to thank Home Campus for their support of the podcast. Home Campus is one of those platforms that you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, communication. And even if your state association already has a platform for those features, Home Campus's student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. To find out more, just go to homecampus.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is literally changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, and athletic websites. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for schools to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. You can learn more at hometown.com. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history and brag a little bit about your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Don't forget to mention the website, vitalsignswalloffame.com.
At Mountain Ridge High School, we are very, very fortunate to have a Wall of Fame marquee in our Hall of Fame gym lobby. It is so cool. It's touchscreen, it's interactive. We have Athlete of the Month, we have Coach of the Month, we have our Hall of Fame inductees. We put our schedules on there. We have updates on events. And every time that I walk in there, I see students looking through stuff like to see when games are. It's so interactive. It's easy to use. The display is incredible. And it is really something that put us over the top when it came to creating a memorable Hall of Fame for our community. And we are incredibly thankful for them and the great marquee that they built us in our gym lobby.
Well, Tony, thanks again for sharing that. I'm right on board with you. We always, I think athletic directors sometimes, to each other, they'll complain, well, God, I can't get this information out. We do so many great things. I'd love to share it. Well, if you put a Vital Signs Wall of Fame console in your gym lobby, it's going to be a magnet for kids. They're going to be looking at those current events, those schedules, et cetera, but they're also going to be scrolling, swiping, if you will, to look at the history. When you do that Hall of Fame, it's not just a dusty old website. It's right there that people can access, and the templates that Vital Signs team creates for you, and it's very easy for you to update it. It's one of those things where you talk about return on investment. Wow, it really does the job. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Cool.
We're visiting today with Tony Miller. As we've said, he's a certified master athletic administrator. He's on the national faculty. Those things don't happen by accident. Tony, we get a lot of new ADs, younger ADs that listen to the podcast, and I think it's important for them to hear about the journey that we all take. So can you share a little bit? How'd you get involved with your state association? How'd you get involved with NIAAA?
Wonderful question. It all started actually kind of as a fluke. We have a great leadership team with the AIAAA. Joni Paps just retired this past December, an amazing woman. And I'm very fortunate to say that she took me under her wing. Julie Patton over at Glendale High School. She's been our LTC coordinator for many years. And I'd taken a bunch of the classes. And one day at the state conference, somebody didn't show to teach class. And literally I got thrown in. Never taught the class. And she sent me the presentation. I said, yep, I'll do it. I said, obviously I'm going to have to wing a little bit of this as we're going because I'd never seen the slides. And Jake, I'm serious when I say this, I was hooked. Every year since then, I have taught. The max you can teach at our state conference is 4 classes. I teach 4 classes every year. I teach 2 in the summer at our Summer Institute. And usually at the state conference, I teach about 2 workshops on important things like hardship appeals or game day management, which I also taught at the national conference. I like being able to teach the classes specifically that are kind of the boots on the ground. This is how you would be successful running events and those types of things. Game day operations is something that I take a lot of pride in. So that's kind of how that started. Then it got even a little bit bigger. They asked me to sit on the executive board on the State Hall of Fame chair. And so that's been a really fun journey to be able to learn the history of people that were before my time. But this year was really unique. My mentor, one of my other mentors, Nathan Slater, the district AD of Scottsdale Unified, I actually got to put him into the Hall of Fame this year. So that was a really fun journey. And then Julie decided to step away from the LTC stuff. She is just going to be our what you used to do, being the CMAA and CAA person for our state. And then I'm going to help kind of lead the classes going into this next year. So heavily involved with our state board. And then the NIAAA was looking for some new teachers. And the course that you, Kelly, and I are together on, you guys had an opening. The NIAAA reached out to Joni, and Joni said, to reach out to Tony. And literally, I received a phone call. And then the next day, I was introduced to the two of you via email. And that was my first journey. And then from there, I met an amazing man in Daryl Nance. And Daryl Nance and I don't even remember what conference it was at. It might have been the one up in the DC area. We sat down and he told me about what they were going to be doing with the cohorts. And I was in the second executive leadership cohort. And then I was in the second QPA cohort. And then from there, those were just absolutely incredible. So any AD watching this podcast, if you get that opportunity, those cohorts will take you to a completely different level, and the resources that you have are incredible. But from there, Don Bales asked me to actually be a national mentor for the QPA, and I said, absolutely, I'm going to jump at that opportunity. And then I became a reviewer for the QPA as well, to see what the other schools are doing and to provide them feedback. So I go back to this once again. It's our relationships that get us to a lot of these places. Art, before he died, one of the lasting things that he said to me, and I share this with people all the time, when you surround yourself with great people, you can do great things. So make sure that your network is the kind of people that you would be proud to be around. And I've never forgot that, because the people that are there for you are the people that you're there for. And that only makes you that much better.
Oh no, absolutely. And it's a story I share. I was, as a young coach, and even as when I became an AD, I was reluctant to reach out. I didn't want people to think that I didn't know everything, that I was a dope. And of course, I was a dope for not reaching out. And when I finally got over that hump, it just, again, return on investment, reach out and make those connections. I can point to a moment where my FIAAA, NIAAA journey really began. First of all, I was invited to attend the conference. I'd been in Florida for 8 years as a AD and head football coach, probably more head football coach. But when I took a job at another school as the AD, the current president for the FIAAA, Dan Como, said, hey, I'm Dan Como, I'm the president. We'd love you to come to the conference. So I'm sitting in my first LTI course and just getting blown away. I mean, wow, this is great. And so at the end of the course, I just went up and introduced myself to the lead teacher. And I'm 51 years old now, so I finally have enough courage to get up and just say, hey, I'm Jake Von Shear. Great course. God, thanks a lot for doing this. Literally like that. It's probably in my little kid voice. Thanks a lot. And Russell Wombles, the lead instructor, he looks at my name tag. He says, hey, you're down in Miami. We need a rep down there. Would you be interested? And that started my journey. The next year, I'm introducing speakers. The year after that, I was asked to do a workshop. Got put on the board. Later on, whatever, 10 years later, I became the president. Got involved with NIAAA. But all of that happened because that one AD reached out to me, just called me up, said, hey, why don't you come to the conference? And then I had the courage to get up and introduce myself to that speaker. You're CMAA, and I was on national certification for a number of years. Um, I know that a lot of ADs that are in the process, they passed the exam, that now they're CAAs. but there's a little bit of intimidation about, oh, what do I do for my project? Can you talk about, what you did for your project and how the whole process unfolded for you?
You are 100% spot on because I got my CAA, I took the classes, and then I was like, what do I do here? So two things happened. Retired associate executive director of the state of Arizona, Joe Paddock. I went and sat down with him. He was our CMAA person at the time, and I said, Joe, what do I do? And Joe whips out this binder that's like this big, and his project was rewriting our state bylaws. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, that is way too intimidating. I said, okay, we have to talk through this. And Joe's like, I want you to do this, Tony. You're going to the national conference, correct? And I said, yes. And this was the last time we went to San Antonio when we were at Riverwalk. And he goes, they have a breakout session talking about the CMAA process. So any of you out there, if you're hesitant, go and take that breakout session. They offer it every year, and it's wonderful. And they really put me at ease. There was a whole panel of people up front talking about the process and the experience, but then they started to share what they did. And one of the guys actually said, and I don't remember who he was, you guys are already doing this. Don't overthink it. You've already done something, or you're in the middle of something that is this project that has a significant impact on your school. And when he said that, it was like the light bulb above my head went off. And I was like, whoa. And then so the meeting got done, and kind of like you, I went up to him. I'm like, hey, I'm Tony from Arizona. And I said, can I sit down with you and talk about this? And that man spent the next 20 minutes talking to me. And he goes, tell me something significant that you've done. And that year, I happened to create a Hall of Fame at my last school. And he goes, stop. You did it. Is it a presentation? I said, actually, I do have a PowerPoint that I created. He goes, go fill out the application. I said, okay. So I go home from the national conference, take a day to decompress. And on that Saturday, I fill out the form and I send it in. The national office responds to me on Monday. They send me a mentor that you're going to know, Meg Singh. And Meg reaches out to me and she goes, do you already have the presentation? I said, yeah, it's ready to roll. I sent it to her. She's like, this is great, Tony. I present a week later, the first ever time I ever used a Zoom before Zoom was really a thing. And 3.5 weeks after the national conference was done, I was awarded my CMAA. So I like many people, I overthought it. I thought it was this thing that was this project that it was going to take me months or a year, or, oh, my lights went off, Jake. Let's see if I can get them back on. There we go. I thought it was this thing that was just like an impossible project, and it wasn't. And then from there, I got testimonies for that, and I put videos in there of my district AD talking about the impact and our coaches, and I presented it to our school, and everybody saw the impact that it had. So for those that are hesitant out there, don't be. Go to that breakout session, talk to people that have done it. You can do this. It's not going to overwhelm you. And more than anything, the impact that you're going to have when doing this is going to be monumental.
Well, couldn't have said it better myself. And I was, for many years, I was part of that review group. And, maybe somebody else took my turn saying that, because that's exactly what I would share is you're an AD, you're already doing something that would make a great CMAA project. So as Tony shared, listeners, you have in your state, you have a certification chair, you have an LTI chair. Sometimes it's the same person. Reach out to them and say, hey, can you give me some advice on doing a CMAA? I still do that all the time. Tony would certainly be a great resource as well. So don't try to invent the next great thing. You're already doing the next great thing at your school. That's what makes a great CMAA project. Tony, this has been so cool catching up with you. Usually we only get to see each other once a year, but this has been really cool. And I got to find out more about your story. But we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox, and you've already established that you certainly know your way around the world of athletics. We're going to take our final break. We're going to hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new AD on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 items in the toolbox. So let's hear from Athletic Surveys. And when we return, we're going to see what Tony Miller puts in his new AD toolbox. We want to thank Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that just wants to complain. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group so you can hear their concerns and address them. But they're also going to connect you with the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And having that positive feedback, it's incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Check them out today. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Tony Miller, the assistant principal and AD at Mountain Ridge High School in Arizona. Has a tremendous background in athletics, but right now I'm going to challenge him to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job, but I'm only going to let him put 3 items in the toolbox. So, Tony, what 3 things are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
Oh, awesome question. And I think that these are great for new ADs and even sometimes established ADs. So the first one for me, creating that athletic department vision, or what I call, I don't like using the word vision, are athletic anchors. What you stand for, what you believe in, and what separates you from anybody else. Once you have that identity, it truly will help to define all of your questions. Because if you have a tough question and you turn back to those anchors, and you have to ask yourself, how does it impact us based off of those core beliefs? So that's the first one. The second one, engage your coaches in quality PD. This is hard to say, but sometimes in education, not all PD always applies to what we all do. And our coaches are teachers. They need tools just like our teachers in the classroom. So one of the things that I'm most proud of is my school became the first NFHS level 3 school in Arizona. We have over 400 national certifications and over 1,200 courses. It's not just a number, and it's not just completing classes. We are better at everything we do because we collectively believed in that process, and we knew that we were going to walk out of that process being able to service our students and our programs better. So do something that brings you together to grow all of you. And then the last one, and I think sometimes we forget this, acknowledgement. Make a coach of the month wall. Make an athlete of the month wall. Have a Hall of Fame. One of the coolest things that I've ever created last year, I created kind of like at the collegiate level, how they have an academic All-American and an All-American team. We call it our All-Ridge team. And each program has an all-academic person and a sportsmanship person. And we created a true gala. We filled up the gym. We gave out the awards. I had all the coaches show up, and I wanted to make it feel like something special. So I told everybody we're dressing up. Everybody's dressing up. We're going to make this special. Like if we were going to the ESPYs, this is our version of it. And it was a massive hit. And then the last thing I did is I went and found a sponsor. And every year to end the year, I have a coaches banquet. And I give out awards to our coaches. It's about 20 different awards. I have right around 100 coaches, and roughly 90 of them made it last year. This is our way to have a dinner together, a sit down at a restaurant where we can enjoy each other, we can acknowledge our accomplishments, and it ends the year in just a very powerful, positive way. So those acknowledgments go a long way. If you can do those things where you're making all of those things I just said are making connections and truly making people better and making them feel valued, If you can do that and you have great coaches that can lead those teams, your athletic department is going to be amazing 365 days a year.
Well, you probably saw me scribbling all this stuff down. I've used the term return on investment a couple of times today, and you're absolutely right. Acknowledging your coaches, acknowledging your student athletes, those SB style awards have really become popular, and I just think they're one of the greatest things that you can do for your kids, for your program, for your coaches. Uh, and I love your term. I'm debating right now, knee-jerk reaction. I'm debating, is it going to be an original tool or is it going to go into our vision culture column? But anchor, I just love that. What are your anchors? Great stuff. We should have done this earlier, so shame on me, but we're going to do it now anyway. Um, if one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, or as we've said, just add you to their network. What's the best way that somebody can get a hold of Tony Miller?
Sure. You can reach out to me at my work email. And I'm happy to engage any of you or answer any questions. My email is Tony, Tony, dot Miller, Miller, at, and it's the abbreviation of my school district, D as in deer, V is in valley, USD, Unified School District. So it reads dvusd.org. So Tony.Miller at dvusd.org. You have any questions or you want to pick my brain on anything, I'm absolutely happy to help, because that's how we get better as an education-based athletics community.
And for our NIAAA members, Tony's information is in the NIAAA membership portal. Reach out and connect and make plans for next year when you come to Tampa, Florida for the national conference. Sign up for LTC 701,
Yep.
and you'll see Tony and Kelly, and oh, by the way, me too. We'd love to have you in our course. Tony, thanks so much for sharing. All the best for the rest of 2025. And let me know if there's anything I can ever do.
It was an honor, Jake. Thank you. And so same, likewise, if you need anything, you can always reach out. But it was an honor to finally make it on the podcast. So thank you so much.
Okay. I think I told you this. I actually presented, I taught the very first middle school course for Arizona a few years ago. So you guys haven't had me back. So I guess I didn't do a very good job.
Well,
But
hey, I'm the one in charge of classes now, so we can get you back.
all right. I love it. Okay. I'll be waiting for that phone call. For our listeners, we want to say thanks to you and just remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices. So come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.